Hey everybody, it's Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life. Welcome to Quilters Vibe, along with a Spiegel Mom Scraps layout. And this is the quilt inspiration that we are using for this round. It was chosen by Sarah. Actually, the next three Quilters Vibes are quilts that were chosen by Sarah. She kind of just randomly picked three and we're like, oh, I like all of them. Let's just use them. So I'm going to go ahead and use the little bit of a collection I have here. This is called Mermaid Tail by Echo Park. And I've had it just sitting in my stash for a really long time, not even being touched. So I had one of the cardstock colored papers that go with it. So I went ahead and grabbed that for the background. And I'm literally just tearing out a piece of pattern paper from every single bit of 6x6 of the pattern papers that were available. And I'm going to cut what do I do, 1-inch strips or 1.5-inch strips? I think I do 1.25-inch strips or something. But I'm just cutting a bunch of little squares because in order to make the zigzag that you can see there, you need to cut squares and turn them into triangles, and then you put those together to create that fun pattern. So you need a square would be a perfect square. That's silly. But you do need it to be if you want it to match up like that, you do need to do a square and then cut in half. I find it's just the easiest way to do it. And if you struggle making triangles, that's always a good way to make a triangle, is to just make a square first and then cut it in half. So I went out ahead and did that. This layout takes me quite a while because I wanted to mix the pattern papers up so that it was kind of like you see there. The same thing with mixing, those thickers that have different colors in them. I struggle so much with that. It's just not in my comfort zone, mixing colors and patterns and stuff in that form. I don't mind having a bunch of different patterns, but having it mixed like that, I don't know. I can't do it. And so seriously, I probably spent the better half of a morning trying to make this work. And honestly, guys, there's nothing wrong with this. This is perfect. If someone else did this, I would look at it and be like, oh, that's so cool. But I'm going to do it myself, and I just could not make it work for the life of me. I couldn't. So I'm going to go ahead and play with it and get frustrated. So go off camera to try to figure out what I actually want to do because it just wasn't working. So what you can see there is you can tell that I ended up just matching the pattern papers so that each zigzag part was one collection of 4 triangles put together. Much more my style. It still mixes the patterns. You get to see all the patterns, or at least most of them, but it's more in my comfort zone. So I went ahead and did that. Really love the way that looks. I'm happy with that. I used part of the 6x6 had like almost like it would be a border strip little bit, and there's this really cute like underwater reef. So I'm gonna go ahead and use that. I'm also gonna do just the tiniest bit of mixed media. There's not a lot. I just wanted there to be a little bit of something, dimension, contrast, just some interest to my background. I am finding that I'm doing this a lot lately where I can't just do a simple background. Like I can, you'll actually see a layout coming up where I do nothing to the background. So I can do it, but I am finding that I prefer to do a little bit of mixed media or something, so that there's just, and it's subtle, like tone on tone. I really love tone on tone, the dimension and texture that gives. That's really, really kind of my thing. So I went ahead and did that. I did some sprinkles in the purple as well because there is purple in this collection. It kind of reads as a navy on there, but it is the purple. And then I went in, and within this collection, the little tags and frames and all of that, I went and grabbed a few of them, and I'm going to use each one of these to help highlight one of my photos. I have 4 photos. However, you are going to see one of them gets covered up in the end. And the reason why is I did a layout that highlighted that particular photo And so I didn't feel like it had to be on this one as well, because they will technically most likely be side by side in my album. So it's okay to have it covered up. And what I ended up doing, and I love, you'll see at the very end, is I just simply placed something over top of that photo to kind of be like my title. So love that. I had fun playing. I liked having all these little pops of different, again, patterns kind of playing through, and I just really pleased with the way it turned out. So I did not, as you can see, add the heart, which is a really fun feature in that quilt. I was thinking about it. I did have plans to try and incorporate it, but as I was making it, I just decided to not, and instead make a feature with my photos so that it's still a feature there. It just doesn't happen to be a heart. Now, this is something you can do with sketches, with any type of inspiration that you get or that you're taking in when scrapbooking. You take what works for you within whatever's been inspired to you to scrap, and you just go with it. Do not worry if it's not an exact copy of whatever it was you were trying to be inspired by. That's not the point of inspiration pieces. The whole point is to get that spark of inspiration and then to go off and do your own thing, which is what makes layout so unique to you. And just don't forget that, because I think sometimes people get caught up in it needs to look exactly like it's supposed to with a sketch or a piece like this. And you absolutely could do that too. If you really love something so much you need to scrap lift it piece by piece, and for what it's worth, do that. I mean, do what works for you. I decided not to do the heart. I did something else, and I splattered a whole bunch of sequins around as well to kind of help give an underwater vibe. And I feel like you still get the point. You can see the inspiration within my layout, but it's not overwhelming. So I love it. The sequence that I am using is the mix that Christina made for the release, and I love them. I think they're really fun. I did a little bit of stitching in black as well to kind of just anchor them, and then there you can see I covered up that photo with just that little title there. I love that. I tucked a few things in here and there, and I just really love the way that it turned out. They are perfect for these photos of Nora at the beach from Canada Day last year, which is what the whole point of it was, and using that mermaid theme collection to kind of help tie everything in together. So I know I didn't talk much about the photos. I'm sorry about that. Here's a look at my finished layout. If you're interested in some sequins, you can use my code Christy15. Give you 15% off in the shop. See you all soon. Bye.